Lately I have spent less time building sets and more time working on my own creations. In the last few MOCs that I worked on, I actually started to see improvements on the builds, so today I want to share with you 4 medieval display pieces with custom characters that I created for my fantasy medieval world. First I want to show the Royal Plaza. As a disclaimer, the MOCs are going to get bigger as we go on. That being said, this is the smallest one of the 4. Nonetheless, I believe that simplicity and LEGO go very well together. For this first scene, we have the princess taking a walk surrounded by the royal guards and her loyal knight. I feel like the main focus of this MOC will be the figures, which is why I try to add some interesting ones to show. There's some indication of colorful vegetation, so that we imply that the walkway is set on a garden of sorts, and the princess is taking a walk near the statue. Maybe she came to pray, but the guards are always present since the kingdom is at war and no one related to the crown is ever safe at any place. Moving on, this is the Altar of Heroes. If you recognize this build, I have to say that you have passed the vibe check. From the game Warcraft 3, this building is actually called the Altar of Heroes. In the actual gameplay, it is used to summon champions, but of course I have added my own twist to it. Instead of creating heroes or champions, for my lore, I have created 3 golden knights that can be summoned through the altar. Each one of them has unique features and different combat styles. This is the last resort of the humans. The golden knights carry great power with them, but the pay for their aid is really high. The altar is only used in occasions in which doom is imminent. For this build, I have used basic techniques, but I'm really happy with the results. I wanted this MOC to maintain the cartoonish look from the Warcraft games, and I feel like I was able to capture the essence well enough. In theory, this building could be of any color, but I decided to make mine blue. Overall, this is another small yet charming build, and the Golden Knights are some of my most unique custom figures so far. For the next MOC, we're actually going a little bit bigger. I made the outpost of the Black Ravens. This is a small base used by the Black Ravens to protect the road that leads to their territory. For this MOC, I made a few custom Raven Knights, and the captain is coming to check on the outpost. I wanted this build to be small and practical. Even though it is not very tall, it still gives the soldiers that are on watch an advantage over anyone trying to attack. We have one narrow entrance on the back, and from the front it will be hard to climb the tall pillars of the post. For the MOC, I wanted to add enough details to make it look like an actual location. The 2 trees I added ended up making a big difference. The vegetation gives life to it and it makes it look more grounded, while making it look charming as well. I was really happy with the figures used on this MOC. I upgraded the Tournament Knight, and I gave him an awesome cloth piece and a dark pearl shoulder piece that makes him look fantastic. For the other knights, I grabbed figures that had different colors, and I made and matched the Tournament Knight with the different accessories. I honestly started this MOC without a clear idea of what I wanted to make. I just knew that I didn't want to make something tall. I wanted to make something like a watchtower, but smaller. And once the idea came to my head, it was really clear to me. In Elden Ring, I remember seeing the small structures with guards near one of the big cities. And with that idea in mind, I ended up making a small platform that turned into an outpost. And finally, it's time to show the fight for the ruins. This is the 4th and final MOC, so I made something special for it. Here we have my 2 custom factions, the Black Bears and the Red Foxes. The Black Bears are known for being warriors, but the Red Foxes are more hunters than anything else, which is why I have added a Red Fox to even up the odds of the fight. I was really happy with the structure and the look overall. I need to mention that I saw a very similar building scrolling through Instagram, and even though I didn't copy it piece by piece, I also wouldn't say that this is my original design. Regardless, I made it and I wanted to share it, since it ended up looking better than I thought it would. For the lot of this location, we are going to the mountains, where it's way colder. This is a place of great meaning to the Red Foxes. The warriors come here to this high place in the mountains to train and to pray. The statue is of great significance for them. However, winter is harsh and the Black Bears have used the ruins and the area around it to hide from the weather. This is not the first time that these 2 factions have had conflict, so the Foxes send their warriors to kick the Bears out of their land. These 2 factions were born from my previous video, in which I created 15 champions. I ended up liking two of the characters so much that I made more figures that match them, and I turned them into enemy factions. These are some of my favorite medieval custom characters so far. I'm really happy with each one of these figures, so I wanted to show them off on what I consider to be my best medieval MOC. If you see the pattern, I try to keep the MOCs small and simple. I try to focus more on the aesthetic rather than the scope of the build. So, instead of making something huge, I made a small display piece that had personality, details, and that will also look good by themselves on a shelf. This is the first MOC in which I have used the snot technique successfully. I wanted to make the rockwork look interesting, so I used the snot technique on 3 of the sides, but I left the one in which I wheeled normally so that the environment will look more diverse. For now, I want to focus on making wheels like this one. Once I had a bunch of really awesome custom figures, I figured that I needed some wheels to display them. I still have a lot of ideas for small MOCs. Instead of using all the pieces that I have on one big project, I have found that making smaller pieces that I can finish in one session has been more enjoyable. Besides, I like that I get to try out more things with different aesthetics, and I can have more than one build on display. As you can see, we have gotten through all the 4 MOCs that I made for this video. I try to make and show interesting figures and builds to see if I can give you any ideas. The focus of this video was to show the MOCs, but the figures play an important role as well. At the end of the day, the whole idea was born from the cool characters that I had. I'm glad to see that some of my awesome figures have a build that I can use to properly display them. Let me know if any of these MOCs or figures caught your attention. As I practice more, I have noticed that I make more interesting things. As I mentioned before, I have had ideas for locations that I want to make, especially now that we're about to get AD&D CMF series and the Legend of Zelda set. Those are going to be a great source of inspiration for MOCs. Like I always say, feel free to share any ideas that you may have in the comments down below. If you want to see more MOCs or custom figures, click on that subscribe button down below. I love being able to create cool things on my free time, so I'll be making content like this one for a long time. Or at least I hope I can. On that note, this is all I have for you today. I'm Beyond Lego. Peace out.